One, two, three.
Welcome to Three Song Stories, the show that connects our listeners, that's you, to our guests with the help of just three songs that have become bound to their lives and their memories. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Canary. Our guest this week is Dr. Chaerin Kim. Dr. Kim is a multi-instrumentalist. She actually plays 10 instruments: piano, harp, violin, viola, cello, harpsichord, accordion, guitar, ukulele, and drums, who currently teaches piano and harp at University of Massachusetts, Boston. She's also a conductor and composer who has released 146 songs on 7 albums, and she's scored more than 100 versions of her original song Rendezvous, which began as a piano piece but has now been produced in 80 different languages. Dr. Kim was born in Seoul, South Korea, and lived there until she moved to London for her first round of graduate school at the Royal Academy of Music. She was recently elected as an associate of the Academy, a title which is awarded to alumni who have distinguished themselves in the music profession and made a significant contribution in their particular field. Her bio is wide and deep, to say the least. Dr. Kim is the winner of 13 national and international competitions in America, England, Russia, and Korea, and she's been a judge more than 100 times at 44 international competitions. She joins us remotely from her home in Central Florida. Good morning, Chaerin. How are you?
How are you? Thank you.
I am good too. So you are up near Orlando, is that where you said?
I live currently in Kissimmee, yes, in Florida.
Why did you choose Florida, or how did you wind up in Florida?
Well, me and my husband traveled here before, and we loved, and we had our wedding albums, and also we just liked the weather and people here. Everything was just perfect. We felt great, so we thought, oh, how about we just move and temporarily live there to see how life goes.
And you spend time also, you split time with Boston then?
That's right, yes, because I have a job in Boston. So I teach there, sometimes in-person lessons, sometimes I teach remotely. I currently still teach, so yes, I'm back and forth between Boston and Florida.
So, where did you grow up, and how would you describe the musical background of your childhood growing up?
I was born in South Korea, Seoul, and I was raised there until I was 21, I guess 22, 21, when I finished undergraduate degree there, and I was doing master degree there also. But then I got scholarship to study in London. So I went to London, Royal Academy of Music. And after that, I got into master program in America, schools in America. So I moved to America and I loved it. And so I stayed there, and right after I got my doctorate, I was very blessed, fortunate to get a job. So I stayed here. So that's how I decided to immigrate to here. So I am now U.S. citizen. So I stay here, but constantly, my hearts are in all these places that I have been in my life, like Seoul, London, and Boston, and Connecticut also, and Florida now.
Paint a picture of what the musical life was like for you as a child. I understand your parents were both musicians?
No, they're not. They love the music and they played several instruments, not so professionally, but as far as I know, my father played in some band, like some trumpet and those drums, and my mother loved the piano and guitar, playing those instruments. But they are not professional musicians, but they absolutely love the music for sure, yes.
I guess I consider somebody a musician even if they don't do it for a living.
Yes, sometimes, yes.
If I ask you to try to go back to your childhood and remember an early musical memory, what pops into your head?
Only musical memory. A lot of them. I think I was just naturally raised in this musical environment from parents loving music. So always there was music at home. And so for me, not particularly music was like something that was not reachable, but it was just daily life thing. Music was always playing in the house as a live with live instruments or from the radio or TV or so I always listened to music. So it was just part of like oxygen, like breathing. So yes, that's all I remember. Not particularly some incidents, but that was how I see the music and how I remember music from like 3 or 4 years old.
When you were young and there was music being played around the house, was there any Western music or was it all Korean music?
Of course, Western music and Korean music both, but I think my parents loved Western classical music, so I used to listen a lot of those classical periods, romantic period, or impressionism, or nationalism, or all kind of modern pieces, and all these different genres of instrumentalist playing, or vocalist singing, or orchestra pieces. All these different pieces I heard. Yes.
What was your first instrument?
My first instrument was piano, and then I decided to learn more instruments, so I learned some other instruments later.
How old were you when you first started playing piano?
I was, I think it was 6 years old, official lessons, but I used to have a piano before then at home. So I would try out when I was coming back from kindergarten, just you learn the piece and you just play, just by ear. So my parents thought, oh, how about we give her, we connect her with a proper teacher who can actually teach her how to read and play. So that's how it started when I was 6 years old.
Hmm. Some kids get music lessons or piano lessons when they're young, and they don't want to do it, even though their parents do. Did you want to? Was it something that brought you joy?
Of course, that's actually for me. It was actually a bit opposite. For I know there are some students that parents love music, and as you said, the students don't really want, but parents really strongly. Sometimes some parents, unfortunately, I heard this little bit of force there, or like strong recommendation, or pursuing. But my parents just, do you want to do that? How about you? Do you like to try? And of course, yes. And I loved it. So it was always just out of joy, never forcing, even practicing time when I even decided to be a professional musician. They were never into like interfering or like saying, do this, do that, practice more, study more. Never once in my life. So I feel very fortunate. Actually, not only my parents, but also my teachers, they both said same thing like, you know what, you might want to just stop just studying or stop practicing, just sitting all the time in the chair, just get out and then get fresh air and things like that. So yes, I was never forced or try to make me anyone try to make me to do stuff. I
Hmm.
only did out of passion, for sure.
Do you remember the first time that you saw music performed live that wasn't your parents playing it, but was out in the world somewhere?
Of course, from very young age, I was taken to orchestra concerts. There was some regular orchestra concert. Tickets were sometimes sent to my father, invitation tickets or something. So we went to those concerts or some soloist concerts. Some international soloists would come to Korea, then I would go. So there were various instrumentalists, including pianists, violinists, harpists, even. So yes, I remember all those different concerts, hearing those concerts with my parents, and of course, and then regular basis. I think they were very brave. I mean, very kind to me too, because I was able to go to not only concert, like tasting culture and art, but they knew the importance of making a child to have exposed of different environments. Like they took me a lot of trips in abroad since I was a child. So we went to travel sometimes summertime, every summer, somewhere out of town, out of city, or out of countries, regular basis since I was young. So then I hear other musicians playing, sometimes the street musicians, wonderful street musicians and live pop or, different genres, not only classical music. So I was fortunate that I was very fortunately given those environment that I deeply still cherish in my
Hmm.
heart. So, yes.
When you were young, you said your parents did play some Western music. Were you into popular music from the West, or were you more into the classical stuff?
I wouldn't say one above the other because I was also as a child, when you go to school or somewhere, or when you see the advertisement from TV shows, you hear those wonderful pop songs as well. So I was exposed to there, and there were some pop songs I loved also. So I equally listened all of them. I was never filtering myself, and my parents never said, "Don't listen to music, only listen this music." They were not opinionated about it. They only gave me decision by myself that music, any music I can listen and I can decide my own. Maybe they had a trust, or maybe they didn't want to force me to do anything. So I listened to all the music and I developed my favorite music styles, or to listen or to play, I think.
Hmm. Can you give us an example of a popular music song from the West that you would have been a fan of when you were a kid?
I do remember, yes, of course. Actually, there was a one Actually, there was one particular artist that I really liked when I was a child. I think I was about 11 or 12 years old. And he is actually from Hong Kong. He was an actor, but also singer. He passed away sadly, but his name is Leslie Chung, and he was a wonderful singer. I mean, everybody has their favorite, different, favorite singers, and I just like his sentimental, that sensitivity, very delicate voice. So he used to have some advertisement program in TV show in Korea, TV programs. So with some chocolate promotion, something was going on. So I listened to his song called "To You" and some other songs. So I think that was the first time, and I started writing down all the songs that he sang, and I kind of started experiment in a way, like developing different harmony, developing different themes, and that's how I start self-taught composing music also. So
Hmm.
that's very exciting that when I remember that how I responded as a child to listening one wonderful artist, pop song also, besides classical music. So that's in my memory strongly.
Were there any musicians from the West like the Beatles or Michael Jackson or anything like that that got into you?
I also, of course, I listen them. I think personally, there's so many, so it's hard to choose one because every countries, even every languages, they have different songs, and I love them all. But if it's from Western, Mariah Carey, I actually like her voice. It's just amazing, humanly impossible feeling. So I used to listen definitely, definitely around Christmas time. Her signature songs, right? That with that beat. So yes, I remember I loved her songs, and Whitney Houston. Also, she has a beautiful voice. And then I also remember Boys to Men. I I think I am exposing my age now. Because people will know. People will know. Well, I love these days pop stars too. But yes, Boys to Men, those a cappella songs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
I would love to sing that song with the friends when we were coming back to home. And that's actually Boys to Men's songs. Whether you believe or not, that was the one who taught me a lot of English because, I had to memorize the lyrics.
Wow, that is so good. And that also shows the global power of Mariah Carey's Christmas song.
I know, right?
Okay, well, let's do your first song. How would you like to proceed? Would you like to tell the story or would you like to listen to it? How would you like to go?
I probably would briefly explain first why I chose this song.
Okay.
Yes, it is because the first song harkens back to 2010, when my father faced his initial cancer diagnosis. Despite subsequent battles with cancer, this song served as a beacon of hope for our family. Well, by the grace of the Lord, he's still alive, but this song he used to sing and we all used to sing together. So it's a very special song and I would choose this as absolutely number one song in my life. And I chose this children's singing beautifully rather than anyone else singing or any other instrumentalist singing. I mean, playing. They're all beautiful, but this children's singing, it just melts my heart. So I chose this and I hope your audiences love that too.
What's your father's name?
Uh, Dr. Kwon Sok Kim.
All right. Well, let's listen to this with him and with you and with our listeners. This is Dr. Chaerin Kim's first song on this week's episode of Three Song Stories. This is I Have Decided to Follow Jesus, and this is performed here by the Cedar Mont Kids. What does that make you feel listening to it with us today?
It just feels purifying my soul. That's how I exactly feel.
Do you listen to that song often? Have you listened to that song with your father anytime recently?
Not together because we are far away, but I'm sure he sometimes him and I him alone, and I also listen different versions. Yes, sometimes, and I know the song very well, so sometimes I sing myself. Yes,
And it's a song that you perform too, right?
yes, I did because it's so special song for me. Yes.
When you play piano, do you ever sing while you're playing, or is it either just playing piano or singing but not together?
So I was thinking about it, but unfortunately, I'm not a good singer. So it's not possible. It's not possible, but I can play some other instruments. So thankfully, yes, I sometimes improvise and then I play through those instruments, those beautiful melodies. Yes.
We'll get to some of the other instruments that you play because I know you play a whole lot of them. But first, I want to get back into your growing up and getting into music. I was listening to an interview that you did, kind of digging up some background on you, and you said that you went to kind of a music or arts focused prep school for middle and high school.
Yes, I did as a piano major, and later I did also harp major.
How old were you when you picked up the harp?
I was, I think, 17 or 18 years old around that time. It was kind of late decision, but I really wanted to pursue the harp as a major, and my parents 100% supported me. And they asked me, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I am sure." Then we support you. So they 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 just trusted me, and I did my best, and I made with the harp, being a harp major, I made a career, and also thankfully, I was invited as a pianist or teaching piano or conducting or as a composer. So I'm very thankful. I just feel like I got much more than I ever can deserve. So I'm only thankful to God.
When you were in high school, you were studying piano still. Did you do any other arts? Was there theater or anything like that? You said you don't really sing well, so I don't know about choir, but what was your high school experience like besides the piano?
So from the middle school, it's like Juilliard prep. Like there is some like not prep, but there is an art school. Art majors only can go by passing some exams. So I had two instruments actually when I was 9 or 10. The teachers, my cello teacher said she should be a cellist, a cello major, and my piano teacher said she should be a piano major. But I chose piano, and then I entered as a piano major, accepted as a piano major. And I do remember we had a classes. Theater major was not there, but then a dance major and then art major who paints or, those art majors. And so we had those majors, and I remember I conducted a choir with the school, my class choir. There were about 50 middle school students, I believe, and I was chosen as a conductor, and we would go for choir competition that was held yearly there. And in high school, also there were art major and also theater major as well in that high school. So I saw a lot of colleagues and friends classmates who became later, you know, working as an actress, actor. And so that's really wonderful, that part, to see them on TV, and also many good dancers and art major students also professionally now engaged to the other field. So that's also great.
Hmm. When you were in middle and high school, it seems like you were on a path to become, do something in music, if not just a professional musician. Was that always your plan in your head or your goal?
I never thought that I will be some other things besides music, but there was one time questioning myself that I wanted to be during my high school year. I do remember I wanted to be a medical doctor, just like my father. And I asked my father, how is it to be a medical doctor? He was a surgeon, very, very, very renowned and great surgeon who deals with a lot of difficult surgeries as a lead doctor. And those surgeons, sometimes I don't see my father because he has to sometimes give surgery over 26 hours. If some people struggling, from make a patient to be alive from almost nearly death, he has to stay there. So I wouldn't see my father for a day or 2 days, because he had surgery after surgeries in big hospitals like that. But I kind of liked that idea of being a medical doctor who helps people to have a life back to, almost from near death experience. That's such a rewarding experience. That should be. And I asked my father, and he said, you know what, Chaerin, I think you play music really beautifully, and you can enjoy beautiful music, and you can share, and you can be much better doctor than me. You heal people's heart and souls by sharing your music. It's not only healing outside, but you can even dig deeper layers to touch people's heart. And how about we one day build a hospital together, that I will give the surgeries and help patients, but you also play beautiful music and you help people. And I thought that was a great idea. And you are right, because actually in my heart, one thing, I wasn't afraid of studying for a long time, that being dedicated, but then, the surgery part was a little bit scary. I I I don't think I was able to probably be able to give surgeries, or even if I was lucky to be a doctor, but that surgery part probably would be very tough for me. So probably I would be remaining maybe as a theorist or researching area probably. But I really wanted to be admire the surgeons like my father. So that time, one time I just questioned, but then I thought, yes, music has been in my bone from very young age. I should just keep going. But I did not limit myself only as a pianist or cellist or harpist, but I always thought I will do something related with music, because music, you cannot just think I only should focus on piano or harp, or only just conducting or composing. I thought musician is a whole process that you share your music through something, whether it's instrument or voice or your piece you write or conduct or interpretate or being a critique or anything. So I knew I will, until I die, I will be a musician always.
Hmm. It's obviously turned out well for you, the music career thing, but I think a lot of parents, when their high school student comes to them and says, should I be a doctor or a musician? I think 99 out of 100 are going to say doctor. So that's pretty good for your dad. That's pretty good for your dad to say, no, pursue what you love, you know?
Yeah, he didn't say no, actually. He didn't say, how about? So that's what I love about him. Not like, oh no, you shouldn't be a doctor. You would be scared. No, you are not qualified. You would fail. No, he never said like that. He just said, how about, rather than that, how about you already playing beautiful music? How about that? And, as a children, we are easy to follow here and
Yeah.
there, right?
Huh.
So you,
So so you did your bachelor's and your master's in Korea. Did you study what was your major when you did your bachelor's degree? Were you
so So in the high school, I was the first one in that high school that opened the harp department because they didn't have harp major.
huh?
But then all the principal, I know they were very brave, and then they said, "You're good at piano. Why don't you remain as a pianist?" And even piano teacher, my professor, asked my friends, "Can you stop Chaerin? She should be pianist. Can you talk to her?" So my friends would come and try to pursue me, but I thought, I'm never going to give up the piano. I will go along with the piano and go with the harp. So I already learned a bit. I'm never going to give up the piano, but I want to dig in the area of the harp, learning the new instruments. So my principal and other teachers said, we can trust Chaerin, so we would like to help her. And they opened the harp department. They invited a harp teacher from other city. And then I felt so burdened, because oh my gosh, people trust me and I have to be responsible. And then I practiced so hard. And within 6 years, I think I was very fortunate to win some audition. And also within one and a half year or something, I was able to enter one of the best university in our country as a harp major. And then I was doing masters in the same university about a semester or so. But then Royal Academy in London gave me scholarships. So I thought that's good opportunity. I'll just go there and study 2 years. So I did. I did go there. I left my country right after while I was doing masters as a harp major as well.
Hmm. You mentioned that your parents had you traveled with your parents when you were young. Had you been to England and London before going there for school?
Not London, but we went to like other countries, neighbor countries. So London was actually first time for me. And actually, looking back, it's kind of funny because my father had a lot of conferences also. So if the countries are far, very far, like America, Hawaii, or Las Vegas, or those far away countries, I do remember my parents would go alone by themselves, two of them leaving us leaving us because it's a very far away and time difference, and so sometimes they took us, but England was one of the country I never been there with parents.
Was what was it like all of a sudden living in London versus Seoul?
So here's the thing, I was completely alone. Parents were not living with me, but I think the experience of exposed by several different countries since I was very little, like I think it maybe around 10, 11, 13, like middle school ages, we were traveling abroad. So I was never feeling like afraid of living in abroad. I knew I'm gonna be safe as long as I don't go out late at night or do other you know some exposed scary areas. But I knew that it's gonna work. So I was brave, I think, in that sense, believing it will work out or hoping it will work out. So it was just great feeling. London, I just loved when I first arrived. I loved everything, and then I enjoyed, and I I only carry very fond memories from there.
Hmm. Do you have any musical memories from your time in London that aren't about school or studying harp?
Musical memory. I think for me, music is just more of like oxygen. I breathe with it. So it's not something like particular incident or particular part I can take out from some bottle or box. But what I do remember mostly is that people, I think, people. I just loved my friends there. All the harpists were so kind to me. And I do remember I was very shy girl at the time because my English was absolutely even poorer than now. So, but so I was only say hello and bye and thank you. That was it, right? And I mean, I understood better, but it was very tough for me to speak out because I was afraid I might make grammatically many mistakes, and I'll feel so shy. So I was always so quiet. But then friends invited me, Chaerin, let's go here and there. So they always invited, and then I do remember several friends also. They offered because it's very I think looking back, it's very probably rare these days, or I'm not sure. But my friends were saying, Chaerin, do you understand all the lectures, everything? And I was like, not really, right? Because of English. And then they were like, shall we help you? You can stay after the class. And there was this particular friend named Laurette, and she offered, how about I stay with you after the class and I'll help you? So she helped me. And there were many other friends from church, and all these people, friends helped me. And because of their help, I was just having just very happy memory in school. And sometimes you learn so much from friends, because of how they do, how they, explain things. You learn the culture and you learn the food or, human relations and everything. And I was so fortunate to meet such beautiful people. I think my friends were angels. And this time, actually, I went back to London because I got that award from Royal Academy as an associate. And I visited my friends, and we were just so happy to see each other and, bring back memory and sharing all this. So,
Hmm.
friends are eternal. True friends are just eternal. They're forever with you. Whether you
Yeah.
speak with them every day or not, they are your friends.
Cheers to that. You did a master's at Yale and a doctorate from Boston University. What were your first impressions of the United States when you came over here?
Okay, I will be frank. So, when I was in London, there are I think certain words, there are words that I used to use, but certain words are a little bit different, right? In United States,
Mm-hmm.
rubber or eraser or things like that, just little things. But I think the most difference it was that accent was different. Of course, British English and then American English. So I had to, my ears were like whining, like I had to get adapted. This the same word. It's just a bank, but it's a bank. Body shop, but booty shop. Like right. You know what I'm saying, right? So I arrived at Yale. I was passing from. I think it was the second day or third day, and after the orientation, right? There's orientation day. The students introduce each other and things like that, and then so probably some people knew my name, and somebody, one of the colleague, I think he's still a good friend, and he stopped me and he said, hey, what's up, Chaerin? He asked me. He was in the bench, and guess what do you think I said?
I don't know. What did you
Can
say?
you guess? Okay, so here's the thing. I really think I'm embarrassed. But at the time, I was never asked what's up. It's like, how are
Did you say
you?
the sky?
That's what I did. How did you know? So, Sky, and he's like, so, that's the first thing. The language, the accent, the words they use. So I had to adapt. That took like a few weeks to a month. Yes.
The next time somebody asks me what's up, I'm going to totally say the sky.
I know. And I was like, because he asked me what's up there. So I have to give him answer. And I was like, why is he asking? But I'll tell him answer. So,
Oh, that is so good. I can't believe I guessed it. Okay, well let's do your second song now, and then we'll move on to the stuff that you've done, after, post all of the schooling you did, which was a ton. How would you like to proceed with this second song?
okay. This second song holds a heartbreaking memory from my time as a student at Yale University around 2005, as I believe. I had a wonderful time at Yale. It's not the school, it was that time, particularly that moment, that I was playing this piece at the church because I was a church pianist, church accompanist. And then the grand piano was in front of all these people, big crowd. And then I was playing this song called Wonderful Peace. I guess another title means There Comes to My Heart, One Sweet Strain. And it's one of the hymn out of that thick hymn book, right? And then I was playing, but it coincided with my grandmother's passing. Later I found out because I was playing this sad song, but then I started crying. But I never cry in front of people. If I'm ever sad, I'll cry alone because I'm shy, or maybe tears might come out accidentally just in front of parents or very, very close friends. So I'm like, or my husband. So I'm like, why am I crying? It's embarrassing. I have to smile. So my mouth was smiling. I tried to force myself, don't cry, just smile. Why are you crying? And then later, I called my parents and they were not accepting my phone calls. I didn't know what was going on and I was worried. And 2 days later, one day, because time difference from America to Korea, exact time, whether you believe or not, in exact time, my mom was holding my mom's mom, was my grandmother. She passed away in my mom's arm. And that time, she was singing that song for my grandmother over 1 hour after she passed. And she saw tears. My grandmother's eyes were teary and teardrops came out. So that moment linked together exact timing. So this is very special song since then.
Wow. Well, let's listen to it. This is Dr. Chaerin Kim's second song. It's called Wonderful Peace. It's a hymn, as she said, written by Warren D. Cornell in 1889. This is Three Song Stories. We call this biography through music. Do you play that song very often on the piano?
Sometimes, yes. Not that often, I should, but the song's melody is already in my mind and heart, so it plays itself when I walk sometimes.
When you play it, I presume that you're always going to be brought back to that time.
Yes, definitely, but it's such a heartbreaking memory, but at the same time so happy ending because my mother informed me grandmother passed away very peacefully.
Wow.
Yes.
What were you thinking while you were listening to it with us?
I chose that version because it's female one voice and how my mother would have felt when her own mom died in her arms and she had to sing. I mean, it's not she had to, but she sang 1 hour because she checked her breath. It was already gone. And my mom was also nurse assistant. So she has this medical background. So she knows how to check. And she knew her mother was gone. But she knew the senses of years last until the end, last longer. So she wanted to make sure her mother is sent with a key. So she kept singing over 1 hour, same song. And I just tried to be, I just moved myself in that moment to try to feel what it could be like from both sides, from my grandmother's side to hearing her own daughter singing for her, sending goodbye, and my mom singing for her, hoping that she'll feel peace, everything is going to be all right in here with her. And those, those telepathies, unspoken words, but through songs, through music, they exchanged their feelings, I'm sure.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that story with us. It's a very powerful story. It's a very personal story.
Yes.
I understand you play 10 instruments: piano, harp, cello, violin, viola, accordion, guitar, ukulele, and drums.
Some are professional level, some are just as a hobby I learned and self-taught. But yes, I tasted everything because I'm very curious of anything related music. Unfortunately, I wanted to learn some like flute or oboe or trumpet, trombone, all these, but I was not able to due to my lung condition. I know it would really even help my lung condition, but I was not able to. So I just stick to string instruments and keyboard instrument basically, yes. And drum, yes, it was fun. So yes.
Hmm. So I just rattled off 9. Is there a 10th that I missed?
Harpsichord, maybe? I had a concert with
Oh,
harpsichord
harpsichord.
and with
Okay,
Messiah,
harpsichord.
yes.
Um, when did you start playing, or when did you first pick up a ukulele? Was it around 2010 when ukulele went crazy on YouTube?
Yes, I think there was a movie. You know that what is that called? I think it was the first 51st date was some movie. Adam Sandler was an actor and Drew Barrymore. I think I am correct. Those were, the her memory was dying, and I think they were singing that the somewhere over the rainbow, dun, 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 that song, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking like this little instrument is cute.
Hmm. I just Googled 50 First Dates, and it's a picture of Drew Barrymore with Adam
Right,
Sandler
right.
holding a ukulele. So you got it.
Yes, yes, I'm right, right. And it was a kind of sad movie, but comedy. There was lots of fun and fun part of it. So I loved it. So yes.
Hmm. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, you split your time between Kissimmee and Boston. You teach harp and piano at University of Massachusetts, Boston.
Correct. Yes, I do teach remotely. Even I'm teaching summer classes this summer because during traveling to abroad, I am still able to teach students, and also I teach Harvard students, some PhD students, non-music majors, but they love music. Then I teach them through Office of Arts at Harvard University. So I teach through Zoom or things. So they love to learn through Zoom with me. So I'm thankful that a lot of students enjoy even remote lessons because I thought, oh, I probably should only teach in-person lessons, but they are the one actually who wrote the letter to the department chair and to schools. We want even remote lessons with her, so please let us have permission. So yes, I'm still teaching those schools, and also I'm going to give master classes in festivals in Europe. Two countries, I think it's Estonia and Romania, invited me. So I'll teach them students there and conduct orchestras with the 7 soloists who are chosen. So,
Hmm. When
wow.
you grew up, studying music, do you remember when you first started teaching what that experience was like? Because it's one thing to learn, and it's another thing to have to pass that along to students.
Well, my first experience as a teacher starts from when I was a college student because I was just a freshman. I think becoming freshman to sophomore, and some other high school parents, they came and can you please teach my daughter? She's last year high school, but I want my daughter to play like you or some things. They were just super kind. And I thought, I doubted, how can I teach? She's just a few years younger and I'm not that great. There are so many great teachers, but they asked me. So that's how unofficially I started teaching some students personally, like private lessons. But then officially start teaching is experience is it stays from Yale University and also Boston University because my professors asked me, can you be TA, teaching assistant? So I taught undergraduate non-major students. So I had those experience for a long time. So I think for about over 22 years, I think 22, 23 years I've been teaching. One thing I know teaching is first, it starts from respect. I do respect all my students. And as a teacher, I don't feel it's giving. I get a lot more than I give. I even think it's like I'm learning a lot of things from them because they have so much like pure passion that sometimes it makes me to think of when I was younger and also, helping them. I feel rewarding. I feel so good and trying to help their potential to come out as a maximum level. It requires such focus and try to have that attitude, positive attitude, to try to help them. And building a trust is also key point because I need to make sure that I'm here not to order anything to them to do for them, but I'm here to help you guys. And all my students have been so wonderful. They understand that and they trust me so much and they're willing to try new technique, new things. And when I see them improving so much and getting scholarships and with another master degree with scholarship and all this and winning competitions, both instruments as a harp and piano, and I'm just very feeling like proud of them. They really did it. They really trusted me and I did my best and all our good intentions worked out perfectly. So I can only thank God. With my teaching career has been such a blessing for me.
You sound like you must be an awesome teacher, just from what I've heard.
Well, I think I have awesome students. That's
Hmm.
correct way to say that because there's some students. I don't know how other teachers feel about students, but my students has been they all have been so wonderful. I know that, so I am just blessed. I would just say.
And you've made a bunch of music. You've written a bunch of songs. You've released 7 albums. I think your website said you've released 146 songs. Tell us about the creation process for you when it comes to either writing a song or composing a piece for multiple parts.
Mm. Actually, I'm humbled to say that because there are so many wonderful composers who are professionally trained under like getting degrees and things, but I never studied it professionally. But I so my composition comes as just improvisation or just when the composition idea comes, I just write down without edit. Even in my sounds role, I like the pure part of it. So let's say recent my composition has been harp concerto, and I wrote that in 2 days because I just music just keep ringing in my head. So I just write down everything. It was about 20 pages or 30 pages. I can't remember exact numbers, but I just write down and they become a piece with orchestra and harp. So I finished that recently, but composition for me is more of a fun part is that you create from nothing to something. Like instrumentalists or we have music from composers. So we are playing something that is already existing. So all we need to do is try to read the composer's intention as correct as possible, as close as possible. Try to study composer background, how their life was around that time when they were writing pieces and everything we go through analyzing But being a composer is like you create from nothing to something, which sometimes causes pain because create from nothing to something, like giving a birth, from nothing to something. It's such an amazing experience, but at the same time, it can be a very very rewarding, very demanding in different sense because instrumentalists we have to practice until it becomes as precise as possible. I don't believe there is one performer who is perfect because I do believe only God is perfect. We are all humans, we are all imperfect, but we try our best to be as perfect as possible, technically, musically, interpretation, and stage presence and everything. But as a composer, you just take out the pure passion, pure love for music in your heart and soul and brain. You just take out and you just show, present to the world, which is quite fascinating and amazing for me. So I am very deeply thankful to any audiences that appreciate my music, and yes, I feel very, very fortunate in that sense that my composition has been premiered with some orchestra in Boston and National Philharmonic in Caracas, Venezuela. Also, they are going to perform in Estonia this summer, orchestra version or harp concerto version. They are still thinking about which version might be best. Also, it has been played in different radio stations, my compositions, and got award from one radio station in London with audience award. So I feel just so thankful because I was never trained, but am I worthy to get these attention for my pieces? But when you're a composer, you feel like your pieces are your babies, your children, so you cherish one of each of them, everything. So I'm just very happy that they are played and they are cherished and loved. That's such a pleasure and
Hmm.
honor. Mm.
Tell us about your song Rendezvous. If I've got it right, it started as a piano piece. You've scored more than 100 versions of it, including 80 different languages. Is that right?
That's right. In Korean with female and male versions, but yes. So here is how I remember. This is actually first time sharing in public interview. I know some other interviewers were always asking about Rendezvous. How did you start? How did you do? And all this, right? Honestly, it started one day. My younger brother would come. Oh, do you know that he used to work in entertainment field in Korea? And he was saying, "How about you write a piece, imagining some synopsis? Like it's like program music. So imagine a synopsis. Like let's say there is a movie. I can't remember the exact title, but there was some movie that he mentioned that imagine that we remake film like that Leslie Jones I mentioned you earlier today, right? The artist, the
Mm-hmm.
singer, actor I used to like that, that based on that synopsis, can you write a song? I think your song will be great, he said. So I said, you think so? I never got trained to be composer. And I'm so like, I'm like, nobody, I don't know how to write it or something. Do they need to get trained only, all the composer? My brother asked, and I said, I don't know. And he said, you can try because you have background of all these instruments learning and all this. I think you must have some music in your heart. And I was like, that's right, but am I allowed to try it? And he was like, do you need the permission legally? You don't. If you write, you write. And I think my brother back then, I think he's very open. He's very kind. He was open heart. So he encouraged me. Actually, he's the first person encouraged me. So I thought, okay, I'm shy, but let me try. So I wrote it that one night in 30 minutes, a rendezvous piano version, original version with the drum. It was completed. And then from there, I thought, okay, let me put the lyrics. I put the lyrics, and then, okay, I like studying all these different areas. So I studied different languages, and I worked with some translators from different languages, but I learned all the languages, how to pronounce. Of course, my pronunciation was not perfect because I'm not from all these countries, but I did my best to pronounce all these languages, and I recorded all these 80 different languages versions of Rendezvous, and hoping one day singers from all over those countries will cherish and sing, and then also release orchestra version and piano version, harp version, and now harp concerto version is coming and all these. So I think that's how it started. By looking back, I think exactly that's how one ball was dropped by my brother mentioning Leslie Jung, that movie thing, and I was okay, let me try. That's how it started.
Wow, thank you for sharing the origin story. I feel very lucky.
No, it's very a humble story because that's how it just started, right? So
Yeah, well, I mean, it shows you that something, amazing and prolific can just start with an idea from your brother.
right, right. So
Okay, well, it is time for your third and final song, The Amazing Grace. Would you like to tell a story?
yes, as a Christian or whoever is a Christian, perhaps most of them heard of this song. I do believe it was like one of those songs that yes, yes, I know that song. But this third song recalls a remarkable student, visually impaired, yet exceptionally talented, um, from about 10 years ago. I taught him. His rendition of the Amazing Grace during his debut concert inspired hope and serves as a cherished memory of my teaching journey. So this wonderful, talented students, he and I used to talk a lot. You know how difficult it would be for a blind student to learn the harp, because harp technical is not like violin or piano. You can kind of go through it, but you have to jump. Your hands are taken out of strings, and you have to put the fingers back on the spot, right? So it's definitely almost impossible. It was, but he made it, and he and I used to talk a lot about life and lyrics, and Amazing Grace lyrics as I was once lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And he used to wonder, he used to express that. I used to wonder how the real world might look, how trees or everything, colors and everything, how would they look? But he used to say this piece, playing this piece, he feels like he one day will soon he will see. And he was so thankful. He shared this story that he was adopted to a Christian family along with all the other seven or eight other siblings who are also adopted from all over the world, all over the countries. And he said, you know what? Even I cannot see. I'm so thankful to my parents who adopted me, who were Christian, and I became Christian to know Jesus. And now one day I know I will see everything when I go to the heaven. And I was so touched, and I just felt this song. It became a whole new song to me. Whenever I hear it, I do remember his name was Gerald, and he was wanting to become a missionary or do something minister, church ministry. But this song just reminds that beautiful heart, that beautiful soul, one soul that had so much love for God and who also made impossible as a possible, and who gave me a lot of encouragement as a teacher that I can help and I can see the miracle, witness such a miracle as a teacher with such a rewarding feeling. So I was so thankful, and this song is absolutely one of the most special songs for me.
Well, let's listen to this, thinking of Gerald. That's a great story. You've got great stories, Dr. Kim. This is Chaerin Kim's third and final song this week on Three Song Stories. This is Amazing Grace, like she said, performed here on the harp by Greg Buchanan. Take it away, Jared. I haven't listened to a lot of harp music in my life, but I'm not sure I've ever heard anything like that. That's something.
Right?
Do you stay in touch with Gerald at all?
Gerald, no, because it's like 15 years ago, students, I think 10, 15 years ago. Let me see. I think it was 2000, yes, about that time. So,
Huh.
no, but I do remember him, and I will always remember him. Yes, I think he wanted to be a missionary, so probably he wanted to go to school for that too, to be
Hmm.
a Christian
I
missionary. Mm.
I just imagine what he would think if he knew that you were asked, this many years later to be on a show where you pick three songs that connect you to your memories, and that he and his playing the harp Amazing Grace would be one of your three songs.
Yes, I hope one day, long time later, if he ever know, he will he will feel my heart. He was such a wonderful student, and I think also his parents. I do remember when I saw his father move his harp to the backstage, tears just came. It's like they're so good parents. He's so good parents, and then thank you so much for teaching my son. It has to be and all this, and so much appreciation and heart, and then, even moving harp for his son, and to make possible to be impossible, almost like to be possible. It was just that was amazing, crazy stuff for me.
If you blindfolded yourself and tried to play a complicated song on the harp right now, could you do it, or would that be too much even for you?
To be honest, we never know unless I'm in their shoes. But what I know is amazing grace can continue as long as your passion is there. So I might make it, I might not, but I know miracles are there because we are not possible, but God is able, more than able.
Do harps have? I just want to ask a harp question. My aunt plays the harp, but I've never picked her brain about the harp.
Mhm.
Are the strings somehow color coded or noted, or to give you some sort of visual cue, like a piano would be, or are they just strings that you have to know?
Well, piano is only two colors, white and black, and how it finds the keys. There are two black key groups and three black key groups. So I teach like a left side of two black key groups. That white key is a C, and left side of three black key groups. That white key is F, and it goes by alphabet order. So you fill out alphabet order A to G, so A B C D E F G, and it rotates A to G. But harp has like gut string, like ivory color, and red colors are C, and black colors are F. So from that clue, like piano, around that, we find A to G rotation. That's how they learn. So you are absolutely right that yes, they have three different colors in harp. Piano have
Hmm.
two different colors.
Are there pedals in harp, or is it all hands?
There's seven pedals. So accidentals. So you have to play very peacefully up there, but your feet is very busy because they're flat and natural and sharp, and it's controlled by three those layers with the seven different pedals. So technically 21 different systems in your head, and you have to make it right on time to make
Wow.
accidental sounds to be correct. Yes.
Wow. That sounds very complicated.
Right.
Okay, well, we are going to head in for landing. Are you ready for a speed round where I'm going to ask you some weird questions? Do you have a nickname that has stuck over the course of your life that you would be willing to share?
Ooh, okay. So my nickname, my friends used to call me different names because my name is Chaerin, right? So, oh, fruit cherry, or I cherish you, cherry. Let me give you a hug, or cherry pie. Here is cherry pie, and they would share with me, and things like that. Or my first name is Chaerin, right? Last
Right?
name is Kim. Last name is Kim. So some people say, "Oh, CK, do you own CK, Calvin Klein?" Right? And
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
no. But I think my nickname, I if I want to have a nickname, I probably want to have a number just as a nickname. 12.
12. Why
Yes.
12?
Oh, Jesus with its 12 disciples. I want to be one.
Oh,
I know I'm not part of it, but if they can let me join, I would want to piggyback somewhere with them. So
wow.
12.
Do you do karaoke?
Karaoke? Singing, you mean? That
Yeah.
thing, right? Well, as I confessed before, unfortunately, I'm not a good singer, but I love hearing singing. So karaoke, when I go with my family, actually, we used to go every once in a while, once a year or so. I listen my brother singing, or other people singing, but I rarely sing. If I have to sing, like my rendezvous, because there's not many people who are willing to like learn all the languages and sing and recording, but I had it to do because it's my music and I wanted to have 80 different versions, then I will. But karaoke, I like listening much more than
Um,
singing.
I feel the same way. Okay, now this is going to be a really weird one, but if you were a championship wrestler, what music would you use to play on the sound system as you were entering the arena?
Okay. I know that will probably most people might choose very victorious, glorious song like "Bon, da, 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 da," right? I think if I'm ever, I don't think, first of all, I don't like wrestling or fighting scenery, but if I'm a champion, let's say yes, imagining that, I probably would be very tired. So I want to hear, let me say, something very, very relaxing music. Like just relaxing, just music, even without vocals, without lyrics, just relaxing music. That's what I want to hear. And played when I get some trophies or something. It's just time to rest, time to sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna let you off on that one. Okay, here's another weird one. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog sandwich? I
Yes.
think they're different. I think it's
Okay.
different. For me,
Okay.
sandwich, typical sandwich, imagining comes with like toasted two breads and then in between something. Hot dog, I would like to just have simple hot dog with ketchup, without
Okay.
mustache, just hot dog
Th-
with ketchup. In the
thank you for
some, yes,
thank you for playing along with our weird little game. Um,
of course.
if you had to guess, what song would you say you've listened to the most times over the course of your life?
Over the course of my life, well, musicians, they tend to listen their own songs technically. I mean, because we are practicing all the time. If I practice 4 hours every day, same song, yes. And also, if I want to hear, let's say, if I'm playing Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto Number Two, I'll listen there over and over several months. But also, I'll find some other versions, how other Rachmaninoff himself playing, or other people how their interpretations are, just to have a taste. But I think honestly, the most songs I purposely listen and purposely try to test is probably my own song because I have to compose and try to see if there are other possibility of having another harmonies and things. So probably that. But regular basis, honestly, it's him because I go to church every Sunday, and then also the songs that I am learning, music, classical music that I am learning that week, then I listen those regular basis.
Understood. That makes sense. You're so steeped
Mhm.
in music.
Mhm.
When was the last time you bought music that you could hold in your hand, like a record or a CD or something like that, that wasn't a stream?
Mhm. That was actually very long ago because these days a lot of people do streams, you know that. So I would say somebody gave me gift was actually my own CD. A composer asked me, "Can you perform my piece?" And his CD was released in Albany Records. So he gave me, "Oh, this is extra things that things that you played harp solo for me and things." So I think that was like about 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably.
If you could have the ability to hear a song for the first time ever once again, what song would you like to hear with fresh ears?
Fresh ear.
Yeah, just hear a song for the very first time, even though you already know it really well, but you get to like erase it from your brain and then hear it again first time.
Mm. I would choose my first song I chose. I have decided to follow Jesus, that one.
Hmm.
Because that song has a special also I found that has very special background by Indian missionary Susandu, I think Sadhu Sundar Singh, someone, and that song seems like having very solid background with this, so I would like to hear it again.
Hmm. If you could magically broadcast a song into the head of all of humanity so everyone was listening together, what song would you choose?
What song? Mm, I would choose Amazing Grace.
What would your 14-year-old self who was there in Korea think of, who you are today and the life you've lived since you were 14?
If I'm back to 14 and what I
Yeah,
would think of myself right now, right?
yep.
I think I'll be very thankful for where I am and how I am. I feel very blessed. I have much more than I ever could imagine that I would be able to get. So I'll be like, wow, you have all that and you're so fortunate. Oh, let me not study. Let me not do anything. Maybe like that. No, I'm kidding. I'll just think, wow, you have to thank God. That's what I'll say to myself.
Hmm. Okay, it is time for you to recommend 3 people who you'll share this podcast with that you
Mhm.
think we might be able to get on as a guest someday.
Hmm. Of course. My first one comes up is Shiba Potuluri, science teacher. He's a wonderful science teacher, absolutely genius. Second one, a conductor named Yohei Sato. And third one, I would like to hear probably pianist Stefania Passamonte from London. So maybe those are 3 people. But I know there are many people in my mind, but those 3, yes, definitely.
Okay, well, as you know, we can do this remotely. So once your episode comes out, if you just share it with them, and then we will try to get in touch with them and we'll keep the chain going.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, you've done it, Chaerin. Do you have any final thoughts you want to leave us and our listeners with?
Well, I'm very thankful to you and to your listeners today hearing my stories, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
We make 3 Song Stories in the studios of WGCU Public Radio on the campus of Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers, Florida. Richard Chinqui is co-creator and producer. Tara Callaghan is host and producer. Audio production by Jared Gonzalez. Chris Duffus is our executive producer. And our theme song was created by Dave Cowan and Stick Martin at Monkey House Studio in St. Pete. Keep listening.